Howdy y'all, you got the Bulldog on the channel. My son found another project. We're gonna go get it. I still got a little bit of work to do today on that shackle job. I got everything else done finally. You know, they say this too shall pass. Well, it passed like a kidney stone, but I got it done. I had to do some extra wiring to the Ford truck for the glow plugs, and then I had to fix his mower so that he could mow this weekend. It was one where you check the voltage and the battery was up, but you just turn the key on and it goes to 10 volts. Well, I had it hooked up and it was at 10 volts. And I thought, well, it's just got a dead cell on the battery because he's charged it. And I took the battery out and I checked it and had 12 volts. Okay, is the battery bad? And I shook it around, or is there a short in the mower? Shouldn't be a short in the mower because it didn't go down, it just was lower. I put the battery back in, which is not a fun task, and checked it, and it had 12 volts. Then I hooked it back up and it had 10 volts. So I unhooked the power wire off of it and it had 12 volts. I hadn't turned the key on and it had 9 volts. So, okay, it's got a dead cell on the battery. It just has no reserve capacity. We put a battery in it, it's fixed. Okay. Then I went to put a plug-in on his trailer and the set screw for the plug-in was lost. It was just a bad week all the way around. Well, right now I'm gonna jump in Mitzi and we're gonna hook up the trailer and we're gonna go get this car. Motor's supposed to be blown up in it. And honestly, I've got a car down at the other shop that's a northern vehicle. They were traveling to Florida and the left front just ripped clear off of it completely. And they were wondering how much to get it fixed. And we looked in underneath of it and, you know, there's nothing to fix because it's rusted out. That's why it broke. The A-arm just tore off of the car because it's rusted out. So much for inspections. I hear people talking about having safety inspections. They mean nothing, because what do people without a whole lot of options do? They either pay somebody off or push somebody to go ahead and pass their car. That's how you see people on TikTok all the time complaining about a shop. Well, it had a clear safety inspection. It's like, what did you do to get that safety inspection to clear? That's why we don't do inspections. We're not going to end up in that deal. But anyway, I'm going to hook up his trailer and we're going to go get a car. Okay, we got a cap full. We're going to go up there and see if we can hook onto this thing and tote it home. Are you going to complete any projects, or are you just going to collect them?
Well, this is just a project that's, sort of a good idea, but when it comes to projects, I like to say that my projects are the classics. Can't go wrong with them.
This one's not a classic.
Exactly.
You ever wonder how some places just kind of end up with 50 cars? This is how. Okay, we're out here picking this thing up. It's seen better days, which is why it's, kind of a mess. But the thing is, they use the same motor in about everything. If it's a 3800, I don't have one. If it's a 3400, I have one. So, yeah. Cross our fingers.
Quite tired, but oh well. Alright, flip the stands. Yeah, get used to filming with one hand. You'll kick it. There you go.
Battery's unhooked and probably dead. So there's no way to get it out of gear, but we have it up on here. I just went ahead and got under the hood and took the shifter loose and put it in neutral.
I'm a mechanic.
Yeah, I'm a mechanic.
I can fix it.
He's got a whole front clip, so we might see about buying that from him. The car is just getting it out of his way. So, tote this thing home and find a place to throw it. It's not the best, but it's, you know, now this guy, he's the boyfriend of the daughter of one of my classmates, the other mechanic in the class. So yeah, I know him, and him and my son are friends. So this is the bad part about living in town, is you can't have stuff like this sitting around just out on the street. They had to get rid of it, and the motor is not good. It's a 3.5, which I probably don't have one, but we can probably get one, you know, decent price. Okay, we're on our way now. Now we got to figure out where to put it there at the house, because I'm getting about car poor. Okay, we're going to drop it here by the bins, you know, just to kind of have it out of the way.
If I can fit.
That's a rod knock. Yeah. Okay. Now, with that handy dandy push bumper that I built, we pushed this little dart out of the way, and as you can see, there's no damage of any kind. I like having stuff set up to where you can just hook it on there and use it. All right, we're back inside underneath this piece of junk again, trying to get this shackle out. And you see, this is what I'm doing. If you can reference the last video if you want to see the start of this, but I did not do a very good job because I was not happy, and I'm not happy now, but this is a ball joint press, and it works really well because it's got the hole in the end of it, and you can capture the end of that bolt and press on it. Ow, like that. I just caught my hair in the creeper. This is what I meant when I said I don't have any room. That's how long the bolt is. That's at the end of the threads. Now, I can take that lug out. There'll be a hole there. I can screw it down directly on the end of that bolt. It'll hold straight, not creel off like it's been doing. But if I do that, the end of that's going to try to mushroom out, balloon out. And I don't want that. This is almost a new ball joint press. So when I solve one problem and solve another problem, I'll create a problem that's going to wreck me for years to come. So trying to explain that to somebody that doesn't already know is pretty difficult. Not sure what I'm going to do. I'll have to find a way. Hopefully I won't have to replace that bushing. But it looks like I might have to anyway. But I still have to get the thing out. So well, that was another disappointing and unproductive exercise with this stupid trailer. I think we're going to have to go with the nuclear option, which is reach in on each side of that shackle and cut the bolt off. It hasn't even budged. I mean, it's ballooned out. Here, I'll show you. It is ballooned out. It's hard to tell. Yeah, that much. A good 1/4 inch. And that washer there is still stuck. It won't rotate. won't even wiggle. So that washer is still pinched from the shaft of the bolt to the bushing that I'm trying to press out. So we're probably going to have to reach in between and whoosh, whoosh, and pull that deal out, and hopefully the bushings that I have will fit in this. Now I know this is just a freckle larger around, but hopefully it's because of the spring thickness, because I don't know what I'm going to do if these bushings are wrong. He has to have it by the middle of the week, and yeah, it's not looking good. Most people would say, well, just torch it or burn it or do whatever. Yeah, I know. But I don't have a torch here at home anymore. So this is my option. Once I get that bolt cut off, I can just take the shackle out of the way and, you know, get the pushing out. That's not a big deal. But it concerns me slightly that's a 10.9 bolt. So, you know, if we're talking about grades, I think this is considered like a grade 5 in metric. I think 12.9 is grade 8 and 8.8 is manufacturer grade. But like I say, I don't know. These are fairly hard bolts. I had vibrated on the end of the bolt that was in there and it didn't budge, but it didn't mushroom it either. I got the nut back on it and was trying to push on it. What I need is a socket or something that's 13/16 that'll fit right up against this washer and then press against that. But like I said, I don't have the room. Okay, I did not post a video last night. This is not budging. So what I'm doing, I cut off one side of this old shackle. I'm going to take this off here. Now I'm going to get after this bushing right here with an air hammer and try to just push the bushing out that way and replace it with the bushings that were supplied. Hopefully they're the right size. Sorry about the shadow. I forgot my light. Now what I did right here was I took and put a flat chisel in the air hammer and I drove it right straight into the split on the leaf spring. And I tried to push that in and collapse that bushing. Okay, we're on, I think, day 10 of our one-day project here. You know, couple hours. You ever wonder why an estimate balloons? Well, this is why. Now, I could get this done pretty quickly if I would just cut to the chase, but I'm trying to save the bushing. I gave up on that. And even at that, it was difficult. But I got it out. Now, what I did, well, is the leaf spring comes along the bottom and then just wraps around it like that. That means there's a gap right here. And I went along that gap. I cut it first, but it wouldn't cut all the way through. So I took a chisel, air chisel, and dimpled it in. Once I got it dimpled in, I could get a hold of it with a long punch, and I drove on it, and it took me forever. Now, first, I tried to just drive on it, and it wouldn't budge. What I did was I took and cut half of the shackle off. I think I threw it across the room over there. I cut half the shackle off so that this side was open, and then I could just push this through. Well, that went over like a fart in a diving helmet because it just wouldn't move. So I thought, well, what I'm always risking is I'm always afraid of catching this rubber on fire and burning up and it falls apart. So I took a torch and I set the rubber on fire. I had a piece of metal on top of this so that it wouldn't heat up the bottom of the bed, but this stuff didn't want to burn. It did nothing. It burned for, 15 minutes and it wouldn't come out. Okay. So I just, grabbed and Armstronged the bolt and started twisting it back and forth until it was moving the bushing where the bolt is stuck. And eventually I got that to come out. And once I got that to come out, then that released the tension against the rubber, and I was able to get this to start moving, and I got it punched out. Now, I've got an apparatus here to press in the new bushing, all thread, fine threaded, 1/2 inch, I think. Maybe it's metric 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter. But I'm going to press it into the eyelet and put the shackle on. And yeah, just like everything else, it's going to take 5 minutes. It's going to take 5 minutes. I'll see you in a couple days. Adapt and overcome. That bushing sticks out this side a little bit. And I dug around in my pile and I found this wheel bearing that I replaced last year. And that bushing is the exact same size to go through the center of that wheel bearing. So with that big old slab right there and that wheel bearing, and then the ring is big enough that it goes around the center, just barely touches the rubber, and then this big old slug right there, and my big all thread, and then I've got, you can't see it, but I have a set of through sockets, like the stuff that they used 125 years ago. They're new, they're Blue Point. I say they're new, they're 20 some years old, but it makes it to where you can run on all thread, and I've got that on top, so it's in there. So now I can finally put this thing together. Okay, it's in. I gotta crank these bolts down and get this thing the heck out of my shop. Okay, we are done, and he's on his way. I got a text message or a messenger message about 10 minutes ago. He's on his way. Worked out just right. Here's this socket set that I got. It's Blue Point, but see, there's a hole in that. Here's the extension. All different sizes. Hole through them. That's what I use. There's the number for the socket set if you would like to look that up. Okay, now we can end the video. He came out and got the trailer, was happy with it. We checked the lights and stuff on it. Got that all taken care of. He needed it tomorrow, get it all set up, and then he's going camping with it Thursday. So that's 2 days from now. The time worked out. He told me he was headed out there just as I was putting the shackle together. So the worst one that I've ever done. Like if I was at the shop and I was on a time constraint, I would have, probably gone through all those steps in an afternoon. But like I said, I was trying to save the bushing. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes this is the only way to do it. And thankfully, the ones that were in there were the right ones. You never know until you get it apart. I went last night until I knew that I was going to be able to put it together tonight. And I really wasn't worried too much about whether or not I could put it together. I was confident that I could put it together just fine. I was also confident that I could get it done in an afternoon. But that's just how it is. Like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification, share it all around. We'll talk to you later.